We're making a great deal. We're going to make a great deal. Other, we'll just go back and finish it off militarily. We're close to a very good deal, and if we can make it good, otherwise we just start up with the Department of War. The one guarantee that I have to have is that there will be no nuclear weapons. They've agreed to that. We're getting what we want slowly. Iran is in a very bad position.
Well, any moment, President Trump could announce a deal with Iran. As a new report reveals, he's putting more pressure on the regime. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second hour of the big weekend show. Well, President Trump is in Washington tonight as we await an announcement of a peace deal with Iran. The commander-in-chief made his terms clear. Iran can have no nukes, no uranium stockpile, and must open the Strait of Hormuz. Meanwhile, the New York Times reports that Trump is sending a new, tougher proposal to Iran that pressures the regime to accept the existing framework. Max Gorden is live in Tel Aviv with the latest. Max?
Hey there, Tommy. A peace deal between the U.S. and Iran still remains in limbo after President Trump met with top aides in the Situation Room on Friday. That meeting reportedly took about 2 hours, but at the end of it, no deal was announced. The New York Times and Axios report that President Trump sent tougher terms to Iran for a peace deal in an effort to exert pressure and to speed up the process, but it's unclear what changes were made to the potential agreement. This as the Strait of Hormuz remains closed to ship traffic and the U.S. continues its blockade.
Number one, the strait has to be opened immediately and has to be free, no tolls, et cetera, et cetera. And number two is they can't have a nuclear weapon. That's all there is. It's very simple. And then we're going to get out of there. And we don't need the strait.
Meanwhile, Israel continues its campaign against Iranian-backed Hezbollah militants in southern Lebanon. The Israeli military announcing they've pushed farther into Lebanon than they have in 26 years, crossing the Litani River and capturing a historic Crusades-era castle along strategic high ground known as Beaufort Ridge. Israeli troops previously captured the castle in 1982 and held it until they withdrew from Lebanon in 2000. Israel says that since the current ceasefire with Lebanon began, they've killed 900 Hezbollah fighters. This latest push into southern Lebanon comes days before the next round of talks between Israel and Lebanon at the State Department. Iranian leaders have said that any peace deal must also include an end to the fighting in Lebanon, so this latest military action has the potential to complicate an agreement. And with a focus on the Middle East, President Trump has expanded the role of the U.S. ambassador to Turkey, Tom Barak, making him special envoy to both Iraq and Syria. Tommy?
Max Gorden, thank you so much. All right, Joey, so we're awaiting a peace deal. I don't know how soon we're going to get one. President Trump said time is on his side, it's on our side, but we've all been anxiously awaiting this. My question for you is this. President Trump said to Laura last night that the option is on the table to go back in militarily. What does that look like when you have this extended ceasefire and then you have negotiations and then you potentially go back in and get things hot again? How do the American people take that? How does Iran take that? Is it needed? How do you see this playing out?
Well, on the tactical side of it, it's, okay, have they been reestablishing, resupplying themselves? So they've been pulling things out, dusting the cobwebs off, getting it ready to fire, talking like long-range missiles. And they're probably still building these drones pretty quickly. China's heavily invested in that, so I doubt they've just stopped or that we found every place they do it. And then on our side, we used up a lot of THAAD and Patriot, and so we were replacing that and trying to come back and ask for more money. The big drawback here in military campaign is basically the resource suck that is. It's not that we can't afford it, it's not that we don't have it. It's that China sits there with a little ticker, and every time we send a bunch of expensive things in the air to blow something inexpensive up, that's one less we have, and they're trying to keep track of that. We've already learned quite a bit in this. We've learned a lot about our brown water Navy capabilities, and we're probably a few years behind there. And we've learned a lot about China's radar system that Iran was using that we absolutely just, embarrassed. And so good and bad things have come from it. At the end of the day, for this deal to work, two things have to be true. There has to be movement on nuclear, because you have Operation Midnight Hammer, you say their nuclear capabilities are destroyed, and then you come back in this war or this operation, Epic Fury, and say it's to get rid of their nuclear weapons capabilities. You have to match that up and show something to the American people of, one, how both are true, and two, why it was necessary. The second thing is it absolutely cannot be looked at as a peace deal to open the strait. The strait was open before this happened. He has to have a more tangible win other than that to say why this was worth it. You can get into the nuance of secret information and probably see why it was worth it, but the American people don't get to be privy to that. So you got to be able to put something on a silver plate out in front of people, especially at this point when you ran as a no new wars president.
Lydia, to that point, I know you track all of this on Fox Business. Economically, a lot of Americans can sustain a longer entanglement, but the patience is wearing thin for many Americans who fill up their gas tank and they see everything getting a little bit more expensive. The Democrats are, of course, going to use that going into midterms. How much can the American people sustain, and how much are they willing to?
That's the great way to put the question, because I would say that we do have the opportunity to be patient here, like President Trump says, and the opportunity to offer some kind of pull some diplomatic levers with Iran and give them an opportunity to make a peace deal. And that is because we are energy producing country leading the world with the most energy production of anyone right now. If this were 20 years ago, that wouldn't be the story. And I think that we're right to lean into that right now. Our gas prices, if we weren't an energy producer, they would be much, much higher. But with that being said, economic strength does not mean economic invincibility. And I think you're also right to point out that patience is very likely wearing thin here. You can look at the confidence surveys and sentiment surveys of the everyday consumer, and they're saying that. They're telling us that the confidence is the lowest that it's been in quite some time. At the same time, though, Tommy, I think we have to point out consumers are not pulling back yet. They are still spending and spending a lot, and that's really important because that powers 2/3 of the economy. So in terms of, are we running out of patience? Yes. But are we in a place where we can still afford to be patient? I would say yes also. It becomes a political moment.
It definitely does. Mark, to that point, you follow this very closely.
Yep.
Was the president right to halt military action when he did and go into this extended negotiation period?
That's a really tough question. I think the answer is maybe, and I'm fudging for a reason. Operation Epic Fury is one of the most courageous things any American president has done, and it has dramatically set back Iran's military capabilities combined with Midnight Hammer. Four American presidents said we're going to stop the Iranian nuclear program. Only Donald Trump is the one who did anything about it. He was about 2 weeks away from finishing off the target set that he had given Admiral Cooper. And so if he had just gone for 2 more weeks, he could have said, we've hit all of our targets. We now have the blockade. We're opening the strait, and combat operations are finished, and declared victory. And I think the question you're asking about gas prices, most Americans will be comfortable saying, I paid high gas prices for a few months for victory. What they don't want to do is say, I paid high gas prices for a muddled ending, right? So he has to deliver victory either at the negotiating table or on the battlefield for it to have been worth it for the American people. And we're not clear whether that's going to happen. I think if he had done the 2-week ceasefire, what he smartly did with the 2-week ceasefire, first he steamed our ships through the Strait of Hormuz to establish the blockade, which we couldn't do before. And second of all, we armed up. We have doubled the combat power in the region now that we did at the start of the war. So if he decided to launch this again, it would be absolutely devastating. But he didn't launch it again. And now we're getting close to the midterms, and it becomes very hard to launch it right before the midterms because Americans don't want to pay $8 gas going into the midterms. So I think if it does start up again, because the Iranians don't mess around, it could start up again after the midterms.
Wow. Well, we hope it doesn't last that long, Mark. Give us more optimism.
Sorry.
All right.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.